do you know what is content negotiation?
Content negotiation. Sorry, in context of.
In context of REST web services, microservices. So suppose your microservices is producing JSON type, and one of the service which required the input, I mean the request as XML type. So how
Request.
do you make sure that nothing goes wrong and it will accept the data?
Okay, so we can annotate that particular endpoint with @consumes, and we can provide the type of the input it accepts.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, we have an endpoint get employee, so it can accept either XML or JSON. So we can annotate that endpoint with @consumes, and we can pass the all the type of input it accepts.
Okay. So which Java version you are using currently?
Java 8.
Okay, so like why do you start using Java 8 after Java 7? Why you moved on Java 8?
Okay. So there are multiple benefits of using Java 8. Like we have Lambda expression, Stream API. So Stream API is very powerful, we can say. So it reduces the code as well as it has so many built-in functions. So which are like which reduces the code or manual logic we need to add. So the Stream API is very powerful. Then datetime, then optional, so which provides the ability to handle null counter exception. So optional and Stream APIs are the main drivers of using Java 8.
Okay, so what is dependency injection? Can you tell me
So
why we like advantage of dependency injection?
okay. So dependency injection is mainly used because of, for creating a loosely coupled objects. So when a dependency injection, we can achieve it through in Spring, we can auto wiring object. And so whenever, as and when the object is required, that object is injected by the container. So using dependency injection, we can create a loosely coupled objects.
Okay, and on the database side, what type of database you have used?
Currently, we are using Mongo, and previously I've worked on MS SQL as well, SQL database.
So yeah, okay. So do you feel any advantages with using Mongo compared to MySQL?
Yeah. So main advantage of Mongo is like it is not relational. I mean, there is no table structure. Okay. I can have different documents with different key value attributes in the same collection. So,
Okay,
like in SQL database, if there is defined table structure, then we must provide those, values, right? And inside and in Mongo database, it's just a document. It doesn't check for any column name or key value.
okay. So suppose there are two threads, okay,
Mhm.
T1 and T2. So how you will ensure that these two threads run in sequence? I mean,
Okay.
T1 is printing something. T1 is printing A, B, C. Okay, and I mean A, then B, then C. And T2 is printing 1, 2, 3. So I want to like think this way that these two threads are printing A1, B2, C3, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Do you ensure that?
So we can add a sleep after each task. I mean, like uh, the T1 and T2 are running one after another. So T1 calls a method uh, print. So it passes let's say character A, and then call sleep method on T1, then call T2, and then sleep T2, and then call T1. That way we can do.
Okay. What is what is a bean?
DM. Bean is nothing but an instance of an instance or an object of the class.
Is there any difference between a normal bean and a spring bean?
Spring bean, yes, there is a difference. So normal bean is created at the time of instantiation only, and spring bean is we can say lazy initializer. So that is initialize when get bean method is called.
Okay. So in terms of security, like you are using microservices, right? So how do you
Yes.
secure your microservices or web services?
Okay. So for our microservices, there is a gateway. So previously we were using MuleSoft. Now we are migrating it to Apache Camel. There are few services; those are already migrated to Apache Camel, and few services are in MuleSoft. So whenever request comes in, so it comes with the valid token or token we can say, and there is a service which provides the token and validates the token as well. So when a request comes in, that request has a token and that token is validated from that service. If that token is valid, then that call is allowed to enter to the system and then it is redirected to the respective endpoint.
Okay. Okay, so in Spring, can you tell me what is the difference between notations like component, service, repository?
At the rate controller, service, and repository are all the type of component only. There is no different as such, but these are what I can say stereotype annotation. So they are made for specific purpose, but internally they are all annotated with at the rate component only.
Okay, so suppose I have written like used controller annotation and I perform some repository, I mean database related operations there. So what will happen in that case?
Also, writing at the rate repository is just an additional instruction to the container, and writing at the rate controller won't create any impact on the functionality because inside they are same, so they are annotated with at the rate component only.
And do you know what is the benefit of using DAO layer?
Yeah, so DAO layer is dedicated for the database interaction. So, so on high level as a design perspective, we have controller service layer and DAO layer, which take care of database interaction.
Okay. So in terms of like a database, how do you ensure or how do you measure your database performance? How can you create a database or create an environment which is scalable vertically or
Or
horizontally? So suppose right now you have a limited amount of customers. With the time, customers will increase and it will take more space in database, right? So how do you make sure that your database performance is up to mark?
okay, so there are two three things which we can take care. First, upgrade the hardware with the increasing demand or with the increasing requirement. Secondly, create proper indexes on the tables or collection. So the searching or retrieving the documents doesn't take much time. So retrieval is fast. Third thing, sorry, we can archive the records which are not in use after a certain period of time. So in our application, in collections, because it's a Mongo database, so inside a collection we have set the TTL. So TTL is like an expiry for a document. So in cases few documents have 30 days expiry, sorry, in few cases we have 6 months of expiry. So after certain period of a time, those records are archived and size is freed up.
Okay. Okay. So in your Spring application or Spring Boot or Spring MVC application, you so there will be exceptions, right? So how do you handle those exceptions?
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Do you
Yeah.
get my question?
Yeah, you are asking about the exception handling, right?
Yeah, in terms of Spring or Spring Boot.
Yeah. Let's say if there is an, we can have two ways, like we can have global exception handler as well as service layer exception handler as well. So let's say if there is any specific, that service specific exception, so we can log that exception uh, and return as a respective status code and exception message wrapped into the responsibility.
So can you tell me what is have you worked with Hibernate as well?
Yes, I worked on Hibernate, but it's long back, around.
So what
Yes.
type of JPA or anything you are using period?
Currently, we are using Mongo repositories.
Okay. Mongo's repository. So do you know how you can write a custom method in Mongo repository?
Yes, so basically repository is nothing but a interface, so which provides a default methods like find by attribute name, find all, get all. So on top of it, if you want any custom implementation, then we can write an implementation class of that interface. So that class will implement the repository, and inside that we can add implementation of custom methods. So in repository, we need to declare the method whichever is required, and that method is implemented in the implementation class.
Okay. And are your applications Maven applications or
Gradle,
are you using something else?
Gradle,
Gradle. We are using
yes,
Gradle. Okay. So what differences have you worked with Maven as well?
yes.
What differences you feel between Maven and Gradle?
Okay. So first difference, what I can see is Gradle has build.gradle file and Maven has pom.xml file. As compared to pom.xml, it is easy to maintain the build.gradle file because it's very readable and very compact. Difference wise, other than this, I don't see much difference between Maven and Gradle because both are used for dependency management. But from maintenance perspective, Gradle is easier as compared to
Okay.
Maven.
Okay. And how, are you working with Agile here?
Yes, Agile.
Agile methodology. So, okay. So, which framework?
Agile, we follow sprints. So we have PI. Inside PI, we have 5 sprints, and we have Scrum team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for code maintaining, are you using Git or something else? Bitbucket,
Yes,
Git.
currently we are using Git. Previously, I worked on SVN as well in last organization.
Okay. Okay. So, what is rebasing in Git?
Rebase.
Yeah, Git rebase. Command is Git rebase.
Mm, okay, I have used Git reset. Um, it is, I think it is something related to rolling back the commits and resetting to original version. I'm not sure.
Not rolling back.
Actually, I haven't used, so that's why I'm not
Okay, okay, no
aware.
problem. Okay, no problem with that. Uh, Apart from, let me check your resume once again, so I will get the idea of. Can you tell me what are the advantages of lambda expression?
So lambda expression are used for implementing functional interfaces, and it reduces the code basically. So that is the main advantage of using lambda expression.
Okay, okay. Have you used any type of scheduler or anything which process some batch files or any file or
Yes, yes,
anything in your code
yes.
on
We
that
have
particular
scheduler.
time?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are using Spring Scheduler to process or invoke any specific service at particular time.
Okay. Spring scheduler.
Yes. So for that we have a notation at the rate scheduled, and inside bracket we pass um, regex of that time interval
Okay.
when to invoke.
Okay. Okay. One more thing, can you tell me what is the contact between hash code and equals method in Java?
Okay. Okay. So the contract is like if two objects are equal by equals method, then they must have same hash code. And vice versa is not true. Like if two objects having same hash code, then it is not necessary that they are equal by equals method.
Okay. Okay. And what is weak hash map?
Weak hash map. Weak hash map. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't used. I read about it.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Uh, can you tell me how this concurrent hash map? You told concurrent hash map about concurrent hash map earlier. How it works internally?
Okay. On higher level, I can say, so concurrent hashmap provides an access to threads to a chunk of map. So let's say initial size is 60. So maybe it can create a chunk of three objects each, and provide it can allow the multiple or max four threads at a time to access the concurrent hash map. So it provides an access to a chunk only at the same time.
Okay. So suppose you want to convert a list into set.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you do that, or what will happen in that case? You
Okay.
have you have a list of names in students in a college. So there will be duplicate names as well. So what will happen if you convert this list into a set?
Okay. So first of all, how to convert the list to set? So we can simply pass the list to the constructor. So for example, hash set is equal to new hash set, and we pass the list to the constructor. So it will convert it to set. And coming to the duplicacy, so set will check for the equality of the object or duplicacy of the object. So internally it will call the equals method. So if student class is implementing equals and hash code, then only it will be able to identify the duplicacy of the object. So if that
Okay.
equals and hash code is not implemented, then it will treat the all the objects of the different, and even though they have same values, it will be allowed inside set.
Okay. So can you tell me what is deep copy by giving an example?
Okay.
Do you know what is
Yeah.
deep?
So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I haven't retouched it, but what I remember is a deep copy is like a copy of original object only, and two threads can modify at the same time. So let's say I have an object of student, and so deep copy of a student is created. So list of let's say list of student object and deep copy is created. So at the same time, multiple threads can uh, access it and modify the list. But deep copy, shallow copy, uh, I'm not able to recall exact difference.
Okay, no problem. So I think I have done from my side. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.